Have you ever woken up in the middle of the night, feeling your heart pounding, your body feeling lightheaded, and you're just there, wondering what happened? Was it a nightmare? Stress? Or was it something else entirely, something more dangerous, triggered quietly by what you ate just a few hours ago? You might think it's just a fluke, but what if I told you that something you eat could silently disrupt your body, messing with your blood pressure, your blood flow, and even your brain while you sleep? It's not as unbelievable as you might think. As we age, we tend to enjoy certain foods at night to wind down. A handful of mixed nuts seems harmless enough, right? They're crunchy, satisfying, and, at first glance, seem like the perfect snack. Packed with healthy fats and proteins, they're often hailed as good for your heart. But here's the catch. Certain types of nuts, especially when eaten right before bed, might actually be doing more harm than good. They can mess with your blood pressure, increase the risk of blood clots, and even contribute to a stroke, all while you're in bed, resting, or even dreaming. It sounds crazy, but trust me, the science is there. And today, I'm going to show you how something as simple as your evening snack could be silently sabotaging your health. Now, you've probably heard that nuts are good for your health, especially when it comes to heart health. And it's true. Eating the right amount of the right nuts at the right time can support your cardiovascular system, lower your cholesterol, and even help with brain function. But if you eat them at night, particularly as you age, they can do the exact opposite. The timing is key. So, stick with me, because you might want to rethink your midnight snack routine. Let's start with one nut that you probably never thought twice about. Pecans. They're rich, buttery, and often the star of holiday desserts. They seem like a comfort food, right? But here's the thing. Eating them at night could be slowly damaging your arteries. Pecans are packed with saturated fats. Just a small handful contains over 200 calories, and all those fats don't just disappear overnight. At night, your metabolism slows down, and your body isn't as efficient at processing those fats. They linger in your bloodstream, making it thicker and more sluggish. This means your blood can flow more slowly through your veins, increasing the chances of blood clots forming. And that's a serious problem, especially for older adults. A study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that consuming high saturated fat snacks late in the day can increase blood viscosity. Essentially, your blood gets thicker, and that's dangerous. Thick blood doesn't flow as well, and when you're lying still in bed for hours, your blood flow is slowed even further. That's a perfect environment for blood clots to form. And we all know that blood clots can cause strokes. It's a subtle danger, but a real one. So, if you love pecans, and who doesn't, try eating them in the morning, maybe with some oatmeal or in a smoothie when your body is actively burning those fats. This way, you get all the benefits without the risks. Now let's talk about another tiny nut that could be setting you up for trouble. Pine nuts. These little guys are often used in salads or pesto. They're rich in omega-6 fatty acids, which are essential. But here's the issue. Most people get way too much omega-6 and not nearly enough omega-3, which you get from fatty fish like salmon. Why does this matter? Because omega-6 fatty acids can increase inflammation in your blood vessels, and that's a problem. Inflammation weakens the walls of your arteries, making them more prone to damage, which can lead to serious complications like strokes or heart attacks. Research from the Journal of Lipid Research showed that diets high in omega-6 fatty acids are associated with increased vascular inflammation. Inflammation weakens your blood vessels over time, making them less flexible and more prone to rupture. Think of your blood vessels like garden hoses. When they're strong and flexible, water or blood flows easily. But when they get stiff and cracked, pressure builds up, and eventually they can break. This is what can happen in your arteries when you're consuming too many omega-6s. So, how do you fix this? If you love pine nuts, enjoy them earlier in the day, and make sure to balance them with omega-3s like flax seeds or wild-caught fish. Next up, let's talk about hazelnuts. These are often eaten on their own or mixed into chocolate spreads and holiday desserts. Many health-conscious people think they're a heart-healthy option. But when eaten late at night, especially for older adults, hazelnuts can cause issues. Here's why. They contain a high level of arginine, an amino acid that promotes the production of nitric oxide. Nitric oxide helps relax and widen blood vessels, which sounds like a good thing, right? Well, yes, but there's a catch. For older adults with delicate blood vessels or unstable blood pressure, too much vasodilation, the expansion of blood vessels, can cause sudden drops or spikes in blood pressure, potentially causing microvascular damage or even ruptures in the tiny capillaries in your brain or eyes. A study in the journal Hypertension Research found that people with fragile vascular systems are at a higher risk of microvascular complications when exposed to high levels of vasodilating agents like arginine, particularly during rest. So, what can you do? If you love hazelnuts, move them to earlier in the day. Allow your body to process the arginine when it's active and your blood vessels are more stable. Let's shift gears for a moment and talk about something most people assume is healthy. Trail mix. It's often marketed as the perfect snack, nuts for protein, dried fruits for sweetness, but most store-bought versions are packed with sugar, salt, and preservatives. This combination can silently stress your heart and blood vessels while you sleep. Let me explain. First, the sodium. Salt causes your body to retain fluid, which increases the volume of blood circulating through your vessels. This makes your heart work harder, especially at night when it should be resting. Then, there's the sugar. Sweetened dried fruits, like raisins or cranberries, add a ton of sugar to the mix. Sugar fuels inflammation in your blood vessels, further weakening the lining of your arteries. Together, high sodium and sugar make the perfect storm for clot formation. This increases your risk for stroke or heart attack, especially during sleep when your blood flow naturally slows. A study in Circulation found that high sodium and sugar intake directly contributes to vascular stiffness and clot formation, particularly in older adults. So, how do you avoid this risk? Make your own trail mix at home with unsalted nuts and unsweetened dried fruits. Skip the candies and avoid overindulging before bed. It's a simple change that could make a big difference in your cardiovascular health. Now, let's talk about salted roasted almonds. These crunchy snacks are a staple in many households, But did you know they could quietly raise your blood pressure and increase your risk of a stroke? Almonds, when heavily salted, are loaded with sodium. Just 1 ounce can contain up to 200 milligrams of sodium, which may not sound like much, but if you're eating them mindlessly, the numbers add up quickly. For older adults, especially those with high blood pressure, even a small increase in sodium intake can have serious consequences. Sodium causes your body to retain water, increasing blood volume and putting more pressure on your arteries. A study in the Journal of Clinical Hypertension confirmed that even moderate sodium intake before bed can elevate blood pressure at night, particularly in older adults. The risk isn't just in the numbers, it's in the strain it places on your heart and blood vessels. So, what's the solution? Choose unsalted or lightly salted almonds and eat them earlier in the day when your body is more capable of handling the sodium load. Let's wrap up with one more nut that might seem harmless, but it's quietly raising your risk of cardiovascular problems. Pistachios. These light, fun-to-crack snacks are marketed as heart-healthy, but if you eat them late at night, they can be destabilizing for your cardiovascular system. Pistachios are high in arginine, the same amino acid found in hazelnuts that promotes blood vessel dilation. While this is generally good for circulation during the day, at night it can cause fluctuations in blood pressure, stressing your cardiovascular system and raising the risk of stroke. Additionally, many pistachios are salted, which adds to your sodium intake. So, if you love pistachios, try to enjoy them as a midday snack instead, and make sure they're unsalted to avoid the extra sodium load. The bottom line? Eating nuts can be healthy, but it's all about the timing and moderation. While they can be great for heart health when eaten at the right time, late-night snacking on nuts can disrupt your blood pressure and blood flow, increasing your risk of serious cardiovascular events like strokes or heart attacks. To protect yourself, enjoy these delicious snacks earlier in the day and watch your portions. Small changes can have a big impact on your health.